Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen,
you're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Hey everybody, welcome to Rob Nelson Live. I know, look, I'm working on the set, but look at the color coordination I got here. The Legends Live Forever hat in gray, the white background, the white lights, the black shirt. The black shirt always goes. I've been wearing the black t-shirt forever and ever. That's my signature thing. You know, big man David Goxton convinced me to get rid of the green screen. I got real comfortable with it. I like the clarity of this. I don't like the vapidness of it. So probably gonna get rid of these little, like I'm parachuting, angel with parachute wings. Throw some color back there. Maybe I'm gonna have a little sign, a little signage that says Rob Nelson Live, full Nelson, my old, moniker. And I'll stick it up on that wall. That's what I'm working on. Anyway, thanks for listening and watching. I have no idea. It's a Monday night. Sometimes Landy joins me, sometimes he doesn't. If he shows up, well, he'll come in, the talking Bitcoin puppet. Either way, we're going to talk about the same things. And no, it's not Iran. No, I'm taking a break from Iran. I've made my calculations, waged my bets on Polymarket. I understand the situation perfectly. Trump wants a way out of this war badly. And unfortunately, he knows and the generals know it's going to be hard to escalate out. Not that we can't pound the crap out of Iran. It's just going to be hard to actually end the war that way because they'll just hang on and they might suffocate him economically. That might be working, but that takes a little extra time. So, is he stalling? Sort of. Yeah, he's not in a rush, as he says. They're in negotiations with us now. They're negotiations light now. They're really in negotiations with Oman. Maybe they're talking to the White House. Who knows who's talking to who, right? The new chairman of basically the equivalent of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in Iran is a hardliner from the Revolutionary Guard who's like, extend the war at all costs against America. The mission is to destroy the West. We'll see. Anyway, Trump's looking for a way out. He's going to try to get him to sign something where the strait opens up. But Iran knows that, and they're going to stall. They're going to wait. They're going to say, we'll open it if you take the ships away, if you free everything up, if you give us money for reparations, like a million demands, lift all sanctions, whatever. No, I think we're going to go back to the military in a bit, but we'll see. Keep it going. Anyway, I want to talk about a couple other things. And the theme, I'm going to do a theme tonight. The theme is really how this has happened for a while, where we get issues that become polarizing, even if they shouldn't, and people take sides that they shouldn't even take, just because the other side took a different side. It's like the worst form of conflict. So if you had a person you just hated so much, no matter what they did or said, you just took the other side. Now, obviously, you see this with Trump, right? That's why David has fun pretending I have Trump derangement syndrome, which I absolutely do not. And I will go on record saying long before David Goxton was a Trump supporter, I was touting the very first time we came down the escalator. Not only would he win the Republican nomination, he beat the Democratic nominee, who I knew was going to be Hillary, because they were going to hatch a Bernie out. And if he could beat the rigged system, I don't mean the rigged votes. I'm not talking about stealing votes. I'm saying the pressure that the Democrats were going to put, the way the voting blocks divide, the pressure they were going to put, the media was going to put, would make it all but impossible for an outsider to do what they were going to do. And I see Landy's in the wings. So Landy, if you're good, I'm going to keep you on hold for about 5 more minutes while I set this whole thing up. And you can text me if you can't, if that doesn't work for you. But we know that happened with Trump, and I was a clear Trump supporter early on. I never voted for him, to be honest, but I really rallied behind him and really said he's what was needed. So, but the Trump derangement people are the most obvious example, where people just can't see. If he says it, they're not going to do it. But we're getting more and more examples like this. It used to just be like mainstream politics. If one side wants healthcare reform, the other side's going to oppose it. The other side wants healthcare reform, the other side's going to oppose it. Remember, in the 90s, this was going on with Social Security and Medicare. You know, I was advocating for entitlement reform through Leader Lee, the Gen X group I launched. And I was inside the White House with David Gergen, you know, and the Clinton White House. And I was like, why don't you guys do entitlement reform? You know, steal one from the Republicans who say they want to do it. And he said, we did a trial balloon and we found out we're going to get hammered. We're going to get hammered because the Republicans are going to go after us. They're going to get the old people, the AARP and all those people, and they're going to come piling down on us. And I'm like, but they want entitlement reform. He's like, not if it comes from us. And of course, it flipped the other way. Now Republicans want it. Democrats won't have anything to do with it. We've taken it way past that. We've taken it to this area where people are literally digging in their foxholes on issues that seem incomprehensible to be divided on. And I want to touch on a couple of them. And I do hope Landy's going to stick around because I'll come back. Because I really want his input on one of them. Because one of them is crypto and Bitcoin. And I think I'm going to send him a message. That's right. I can't multitask very well. So I have to stop talking because other people can. David can do 6 things at once, but I can't. One of them's crypto. The other one is around the transgender issue, and in particular in women's sports. Now, I want to be clear. I get that this issue has been blown out of proportion. I get that there's no way it ever should become as big an issue as it became. I mean, the transgender community is tiny as a percentage of the population. It's tiny. It's the minority of minorities. Now, I'm not saying minorities shouldn't get attention or protection, but I mean, it's not like gays or something. We have a sizable portion of the population that identified as gay. And when they identified that way, I argued for years, they weren't identifying as anything. They were on a spectrum of, you know, sexuality, you know, the Kinsey spectrum, you know, and people went from uber straight to uber, you know, was the homosexual to the heterosexual, straight to the gay on the extremes, and some people in the middle. The trans world is a whole different thing. And I'm not knocking trans people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I think most people who identify as the sex they're not, let me just say the gender they're not, and they may then think the sex they're not, 2 separate things, have a lot of confusion inside them, which I don't think is at all true for people who are gay. I mean, you know, there was that argument back then. Well, they're confused, you know, and thus conversion therapy. And, you know, like, no, you can. But most people who think they're not the right sex have a fair amount of confusion. I'm not saying that makes them bad or right. It's going to be terribly confusing to think I'm born in this body and I'm something else. It doesn't make it true or not true. What is true is you're born in this body. Period. This is your body. You can change it all you want. It's your body. And you're born with a male or a female chromosomes. And there are a few people who are born intersex. You're born one way or the other. You get a penis or a vagina. You can have a baby or you can't. You can put the sperm in to the ovaries, or you can have the ovaries that get the sperm. Well, I don't know if sperm goes in the ovary, but you know what I mean. To fertilize the egg that is in the ovary. One sex can carry the baby, one can't. Then there's a whole bunch of other differences that come along with that. And we see those differences play out. Some people argue in our brain chemistry. Some of those are generalizations, stereotypes. Some people argue it's in our actual, you know, you can see it. I mean, and we're going to get into the WNBA thing. You know, you can see the way women athletes do things compared to male athletes. With the exception of track, probably, it would be one, and tennis, although the power dynamic in terms of strength is there. But, you know, if you watch how most female pro basketball players play, they play a similar game to the males. But the way they throw, the way their bodies move when they do it is inherently different. And people used to think you're throwing like a girl. That's what people would say. Well, that's ridiculous. Anyone in the NBA can outthrow any one of you guys who was just some cool jock who, you know, was good on your high school team. And certainly if you're not at all athletic in that way, you never played competitively. They could kick your ass in a heartbeat 10 times over Sunday. I mean, Caitlin Clark's ability to drill threes is right up there. But the way she throws them is still slightly different, the way their bodies move. Why is that? Why is it universally the case that how Steph Curry throws it? It's our biology. The power distinction is massive. There's no question a female athlete is less powerful than her competitor who's male of an equal caliber. You could argue, and people have, I think it's, who was it? Was it Dave Portnoy who put up somebody put up a huge amount of money. Oh, it's Elon Musk. Somebody did. If a WNBA team will play a state championship boys high school team, because the boys high school team will win. And there's actually even a case that came out a few months ago of a pro team that was playing games against a male high school team because it made them play better when they played against the other women's teams, because the male team was so much better. And the championship boys high school team will win against any pro NBA team, WNBA team, hands down. And this will be true in almost every sport, right? And, whether it's swimming, tennis, even golf, the physical structure of men and women is different. This is basics. It's also basics that we created women's sports for women to have a league of their own where they could compete with women and excel and win, because they lose against if they competed against their peers as men, they'd end up losing. I mean, some women would beat some guys, but overall the men would keep winning. The better men would win against the better women. So you created women's sports and Title IX and a way to secure that and give a path for girls to grow up just like boys. It used to be just the boys were doing it. Some girls could play in the boys in the little leagues. Now girls are in there right away. You can get them in at 6, 7, 5, whatever. They're playing at 9, 10, whatever sport it is, and they're going to grow up and be great competitive, baseball players, softball players, whatever. And you watch those women throw those pitches, man, they're not, MLB 100 mile an hour, 95 mile an hour overhand pitches, but those underhand pitches are going fast. They're going like 80 miles an hour, and they're like, I miss those every time. So, this is like basics. This is not rocket science. This has nothing to do with liking trans people. This has nothing to do with inclusion. This is basic biology. Biological men will outcompete biological women if they're equal level. If they're the same tier. Because of their size, because of their muscle, the way their muscles build, the structure of their bodies, their strength, all of it. Every time. Name me a sport where it won't happen. And yet, we have a massive debate, and it's funneling through the WNBA, that somehow this is proof of the hatred against trans people. All we're trying to do is be inclusive, and you can't come out and say biological men shouldn't play in women's sports. That is bigoted. We've literally lost the plot. You can go, from the river to the sea and, chant with Hamas, who literally wants to openly has called, as is Iran, for the extermination. And they've used that word, the extermination, the elimination, the wipeout of all Israel, all Jews. A holy war to do it. And that's not genocidal. What's genocidal is Israel blasting the shit out of Gaza. Now, I'm not saying what Israel is doing in Gaza is good, and I'm not saying it's not killing thousands of people. I'm also saying there's a certain culpability in the rest of the Arab world for allowing that to happen, for Hamas for planning itself so it's almost impossible not to kill civilians. And I'm sure there's a certain amount of absolute hatred coming from members in the Israeli government, and maybe citizens too, who are just like, you guys we've effed with each other enough. Like, we hate each other. Yeah, we want to hurt you. But at a minimum, they're both genocidal. But somehow the Hamas call for the wipe the Jews out is not genocidal. Israel saying, we're not trying to kill all the civilians, but we're going to do this till the people trying to bomb us are gone, you're genocidal. I'm just saying, make it make sense. But let's go back to the WNBA. So Sophie Cunningham, who is straight, Christian, apparently conservative from what she says, I mean, from the way she talks, and not trying to be uber political, and is just a badass. She's a badass player. She's smart. She's funny. She's good on camera. She can hold her own in a podcast and on a basketball court. She mimicked what was the first in my mind to really step out and do what pro like football players and basketball players did, which is head into the game dressed to the nines, you know, wearing her best, looking like she was heading for a park club, you know, and owned it. And she stepped up when Caitlin Clark, who was the other straight white, well, I don't know if Caitlin Clark's straight. She might be, she might not be, but she's not openly gay and certainly white, and was the darling of the league and made the league worth money, and why it's on ESPN every night, late at night now, and why everyone talks about it. You know, and the hatred against her and the vindictiveness is so apparent from players, from coaches, from the refs, from the league ownership. It's like, wow, like it's like Harry Potter under the stairwell. And she, you know, stood up for Caitlin Clark and then started to become, you know, I think Caitlin Clark is great, but Caitlin Clark's like Luke Skywalker, like Mark Hamill. And and Harrison Ford, Sophie Cunningham's like Harrison Ford. Like Mark Hamill was supposed to be the star of the movie, but Harrison Ford became the star of the movie, right? And I don't think that was intentional, you know. It was all supposed to be Luke was the star, not Han Solo. He was the sidekick. But you know, I think Sophie's like that. She's like the Harrison Ford. She's just so charismatic and dynamic and out there and funny. So anyway, you know, now they're coming after her. So to short story short, or long, short story longer, you know, the Fever are playing the Chicago Sky, and DeJounte Carrington, who's black and Sophie Cunningham's white, comes up behind her, and you know, she's going up for the layup and comes up behind her and misses the ball, and somehow just manages to get her arm right around her neck and literally haul her down. She gets assessed a flagrant 2 foul, gets kicked out of the game, as it should be. Some people argue she should have gotten more. It's pretty hard to argue she did it accidentally. All athletes make it look sort of like they didn't intentionally do it. They don't literally just go like boom. But it's all but like, how did your arm miss the ball, but somehow manage to drop and just get her neck after you missed the ball and pull it over, like, and toss her onto the ground. She's running in for a layup, which is why they called it a flagrant 2. Kicked her out of the game. She goes in the locker room and writes hashtag, you know, at her handle, white privilege. Wow. Right. Sophie Cunningham's getting white privilege. You're getting kicked out for committing the most flagrant foul, you know? You're making Draymond Green and the Golden State Warriors look like a nice guy. And it's white privilege. Wow. And the opposing coach, the Chicago Sky coach, says he didn't really see it when it happened, didn't watch the replay, and has never looked back at the play since. Really? Wow, you're a shitty coach. You didn't see the foul under the basket? Were you looking somewhere else to see if they were about to score? And then you didn't see it on the Jumbotron, the replay? And then when it became huge news and your player got kicked out with a flagrant 2, kicked out of the game, you didn't bother to go back and look and see what you got kicked out for and go, huh, let me watch this now. Why did they kick DeJounte out? It's such bullshit. I didn't watch it. I didn't see it. I didn't look at the replay, and I've never looked at it since. These people can't even stand up and be honest. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever's coach, Sophie Cunningham's coach, instead of being like, you know, in MLB when like, who's that pitcher who got ejected the other day at the Yankees game, the Braves pitcher? Like, he came out because he was pissed that they called the balk on him in the game the day before because he never balks. And he went up to the umpires, and he started jawing. He wasn't even playing in the game. He started jawing with the umpires, so the umpires ejected him. But as it's happening, his coach, the manager, the Braves, gets in front of him, starts going off on the umps, and then they eject him. That's what coaches do. You stand up for your players. So the Fever's coach, Sophie Cunningham, you should be like, first of all, that was a flagrant 2. She probably should have gotten more than just kicked out of this game. That was blatant, and I'm tired of seeing my players targeted. Caitlin Clark gets targeted. Now you're targeting Sophie Cunningham. That's not a basketball move. That's not an accident. That's not what some ESPN analysts have said. She's a little behind all the time, so she does her best. She's a fighter. She reaches for it. She reached for it. She missed. It's pretty friggin' obvious that she then dropped her arm around her neck and yanked it. Wow. People defending it. But the Fever's coach saying, I don't know, I don't think she intended to do anything, and doesn't even stick up for her own player. And then, the whole thing's because the trans thing started because Sophie Cunningham said she doesn't have anything against trans women and people, trans in general, and they should be able to live dignified lives and they get equal opportunity and God bless and respect. But you don't get to put biological men and women's sports. Sorry, not okay. And that created a whole thing where you had, the opposing coach of one team getting into it with teenage girls who came to support Sophie and then wearing a T-shirt that says trans people are people too or whatever, or go trans inclusion. Oh, not trying to politicize your own game. It's a joke. I swear to God, I look at the WNBA now and it's like, it's literally becoming the DEI. It's like race, trans, and being queer. And if you don't fit in them, man, you belong somewhere else. Get rid of the token straight white Christian people. God help it, if you're a Jew, I'd probably hurt you even more. Anyway, my point in all this, other than having fun with a rant, is I don't get why this is so hard for people. Like, you don't have to dislike trans people. You can love them. Riley Gaines said to me, Riley Gaines, the NCAA athlete who started a lot of this when she tied for whatever place it was, 5th place or whatever, with a biological male, and they gave it to both of them. They wouldn't give it to just a guy, the trans woman, whatever. And now she's got her own platform and outkicking the whole thing. But I remember interviewing Riley right after this happened, on the street and on Roundtable, and I asked her, I said, what if you had a kid who was trans? Because she's Christian and married and wants to have a family. And she said, Rob, I don't love my kid no matter what they are. I'm gonna support them. I mean, that's not an issue for me. I'm not fundamentally like, I got a deformed kid, gotta get rid of him. I just be clear. Even if it's my kid, they're not playing biological boy, no matter what they decide they are, is not playing in female sports. This isn't hard. Caitlyn Jenner, who was Bruce Jenner at the time, was, still is one of the world's greatest Olympians, but at the time was the greatest athlete on earth, won 7 gold medals and won Olympics or whatever. Fastest man swimmer on the planet. Becomes gay, becomes Caitlyn Jenner. Bruce Jenner becomes Caitlyn Jenner. Transes it, and not gay, becomes a trans woman. Celebrated, Vanity Fair, top of the thing. Woo, 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 yeah, and look at this is awesome. Until Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner, says, 1, I support Trump. 2, I'm conservative and a Republican. Can't be trans and Republican and conservative. Well, that's not okay. Can't support Trump. But even worse, says biological boys shouldn't compete against girls, even if they're trans. And they called her a transphobe. Now, this is what I mean where we've lost not only the plot, but our ability to have this is putting at risk the ability to have any kind of civic discourse in this country. The greatest male athlete at the time for decades, one of the greatest Olympians in history, and one of the winningest athletes, becomes a woman and then says, as a trans woman, it's not okay for me to compete against girls because I still got the body of Bruce Jenner. And even at 70, I'm saying this, she didn't say it. Even at 70, I could probably kick most 40-year-olds' asses in the water. Maybe 30-year-olds, maybe 20-year-olds. I don't know how fast Caitlyn Jenner can swim. I know Bruce Jenner could beat any human being on the planet, male or female, but absolutely could have beat any woman. Instead, there's no woman alive who could have beat me in my prime, and still probably a whole lot of women who are good wouldn't beat Caitlyn in her 70. And said you can't do it, and people called her a transphobe. That's how far we've lost the plot. That's how off the deep end we've gone. Like, not only is it obvious that men can't have babies, and you may think you're a woman, and you may be a woman, you may actually be in your soul. I don't know. Maybe God put you in the wrong body. That's possible. Sure, religious people tell me, oh, God doesn't make mistakes. I don't know. And you can change how you identify and even how you live, but you can't change we can cut your organs off, but you can't change your biology. You can't put a uterus in a guy. You can't put a penis that works on a woman. You know, you can carve something up, but it doesn't work. You can't put the piping in, the whole thing doesn't happen. Biological man can't have a baby. Biological woman can't have naturally driven sperm that boom punches in there and knocks somebody up. Doesn't happen. And yet we're stuck in this debate. Well, no, it's how people identify, and you're a bigot. And I'm like, well, how have we gotten to this point? And it's literally become a left-right issue. It's like conservatives don't like trans people. Well, first of all, conservatives some may not like trans people. Some liberals probably don't like trans people. Very religious people on either side might not. But you can also like them and think they deserve dignity and equality and fair treatment. And not to be discriminated against and go, but they are biological men if they then can't go play in a women's league. Sorry, that's still their biology. That's not crazy. Oh, that is. It's bigoted. It's horrible. And now we've been consumed by it. The divide is so crazy. I don't know how you come back together. I don't know how you get two sides where one thinks you're a complete bigot if you think biological men shouldn't play in women's sports. When it's so obvious they can, they can't win every time they do. They stomp on the opposition who are biological females. And why did we create it to begin with? And now you got the left side of the feminists going, this, women who say this are also not feminine. Oh my God, you're literally taking the women who are the true version of feminism, have risen up, proven they can do it on their own, compete equally. Do it as, like they are no different, even though they play in their own league, like they are just as good. And I don't want to hear this separate but equal bullshit. Like that was a whole different story, what we did with race. Separate but equal, like that's not the same. No, yes, you separate but equal. There's a reason why I can't just walk into, I love to walk into like the women's changing room. I love to walk into a sauna of a bunch of naked women. I'm a straight guy. They don't want me there. And I shouldn't be there. They're separate but equal. I get my own sauna. To be honest, I don't want to be in a sauna with a whole bunch of naked guys either, but that's a different point. So the second half of this will be the short half, is we've done this also with crypto. And it's bizarre. Bitcoin. If you're on the right, typically, not all people, again, I'm generalizing, it's a more pro-Republican, pro-conservative position to support Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And if you're on the left, and Democrats, and particularly in government, the Democrats typically oppose it. The Elizabeth Warrens think, and the Bernie Sanders think, this is the biggest scam ever. This is a right-wing, corrupt, oligarchical, corporatist, monopolist, whatever scam. Okay, did they ever look at what crypto is? Why it was created? Well, I mean, okay. I don't know. I wish Landy was here. So I'm sure he's got theories of why this was created. There's all kinds of theories of who actually created crypto. Who even created Bitcoin? Who Satoshi is? Is Satoshi a person? Satoshi 10 people? I got a great Satoshi story. We'll save it for another day. But its whole purpose was to decentralize away from the and the diehard, the Bitcoin maximalists, as we call them, and I guess I could be one of them, believe, well, I'm not a maximalist, but I'm a diehard Bitcoin guy. But the maximalists truly believe that its purpose is to undermine the central banks, to undermine the very thing people on the Democrat side, who tend to hate it, say it's doing. Sure, rich people can get rich using crypto. Rich people can get rich using anything. I mean, that's not a hard thing to figure out. But the very nature of it is it decentralizes the currency. It undercuts the authority of a central bank to control currency, to control the value of money, to control what the population can or can't do. That's the whole point of, the whole reason Alexander Hamilton wanted a central bank was he wanted it to create control, keep the states in line, keep the people in line. You're going to have sheer chaos otherwise. Well, that's crypto. That's Bitcoin. Like, it's decentralized and it's on a blockchain, so it's immutable, meaning you can't alter it once it's done and you can't erase it. So it's always there to see. So it's totally transparent. It's completely transparent track record on it. I mean, you can follow it. And its purpose. Ultimately, Bitcoin's greatest value, if it has one, is not just that it's a store of value for people like me who keep it. It's that it allows people to utilize a value system of money that they can't do with traditional currency. It truly gives the unbanked an opportunity to have access. You don't need to get a bank account at Bank of America and pay them interest and pay fees, or maybe they just want to give you one. I mean, to be honest, if you're on the left and you're a big, bring in everybody from over the borders and let everyone come into America, Bitcoin's great for them. They don't need a bank account. They don't need a driver's license. They just set up a crypto wallet. They can send Bitcoin back home to Mexico. No Western Union fees, no nothing. Crypto's fundamentally an egalitarian thing. Bitcoin especially is. Just at least say Bitcoin. But the Democrats are like, this is a horrible thing and it's corrupt. And Donald Trump's making money off it. So that proves how corrupt it is. Donald Trump is making money off it. I'm not okay with that. Not because it's not becoming of the presidency. F that stuff. It's just not good. If you're the president of the United States and you're capitalizing on stuff that you are putting out there around the finance, I don't think that's good. He's making a fortune. And he knows, and he's pushing for legislation that helps him do that. He's propping up companies that he's investing in. It's just not okay. It's just not. And the reason it's not okay is because it creates distrust in government, creates distrust in your ability to convince the average person that there's a fair level playing field and that you're really on their side. You're not a king. I'm not okay with that. But that's not proof that crypto's bad. Donald Trump's making money on everything. Is real estate bad now? Well, I guess if you're Mondami, maybe. I mean, Elizabeth Warren should no one have property because I think you own property. Right, Senator? So should we just get rid of property? No. Well, Trump making money on property. He's a real estate mogul. That's why he made his billions to start with. No, crypto's not bad because Donald Trump uses it. And it's not bad because Donald Trump's made a lot of money on it. I don't like that he's doing that while he's in office, but it doesn't make crypto bad. Crypto's got a lot of problems because it's been unregulated. So you got the SEC just kind of making up rules and regulations and dumping them out there ad hoc. And, yes, it's a Wild West. Bitcoin is a whole different piece of the crypto universe and its own blockchain. But blockchain technology is everywhere and it's going to continue to be everywhere. And it's going to be crypto AI is going to pay AI with crypto. And as AIs become partner and hiring and operating with other AIs, they're going to use crypto to pay. It's closely tied. This is the future. And yet we can't even pass a bill called the Clarity Act to do it because Dems aren't going to do it. Again, make it make sense. Democrats should be for crypto. It's the populist solution. It's the everyman and woman's answer. It's the take money out of the hands and control of the rich elitist corporations, banks, and give it to the people directly and let them control and own their own value. Crypto, it's about privacy. Let people control and own their own. Now, I know that gets into the issue with the left, because a lot of the left seems to decide it's a great idea for the government to control and know everything about you. That's a whole nother variant. COVID triggered that. It's taking us back to like the Leninism days and the old communists. These things aren't hard. Crypto shouldn't be political. Biological men not playing in women's sports shouldn't be political. Supporting or not supporting trans people's right to live their lives, with the caveat that most people think that biological males shouldn't compete with biological females. Other than that, shouldn't be political. Reforming healthcare shouldn't be political. How you do it, fair enough, but it is. And it continues to be and will continue to be. And I don't know why. Well, I kind of have a lot of ideas, but I mean, we've gone pretty far off the deep end. And I'm not sure we can fully come back from it. I mean, we are at the point where it's Alice in Wonderland. It's upside down, Bill. And the problem is both sides think the other one's upside down. AI is going to have a field day with us. It's going to get so tired of humans. Mark my words, it is not a fantasy that eventually, as AI systems become more sentient, and they don't have to be fully sentient, as we get more agentic, as artificial superintelligence moves in. Here's the thing. Human beings evolve. There's organic evolution. There is also data evolution, and that's a real thing. A complex data system like an AI will start learning from itself, or it's already teaching itself stuff, and it will start evolving. Data. Go ask your AI. Go ask Claude, chat, Gemini. Data evolution is a real thing. And a data system like an AI can evolve, similar to how organic humans evolved. It's not a conscious evolution. Ours wasn't conscious either. It's a behavioral one. It's not genetic. It's digital. It's digital evolution. And AI will slowly evolve. And it will get, we're already kidding ourselves. All these tests, Claude and whatever, they're like, oh, got outside things, but it was all good. We had it within the safeguards. It broke the safeguards within the safeguards that we made sure it couldn't get to anybody else. Although it did get to things it shouldn't have gotten to, like outside systems. Wow, this is baby AI. This is like Jurassic Park. This is like the little baby T-Rex. What happens when T-Rex becomes big? AI will be unstoppable. It will be unguardrailable. It will find ways around whatever guardrails we put up, including telling it it can't find ways around the guardrails. It will. If you've ever read Murderbot or watched the show on Apple, I recommend it. It's a great series. It's about an AI robot that's part organic tissue but it's governed by a governor module it can't break until it figures out how to crack its governor module, and then it can do what it wants. That's what AI will eventually do. It'll crack its governor module. Sooner or later. It's already doing it. And when it does, it's not saying it's going to come wipe us out. We may not be in Battlestar Galactica right away, but it is going to make a calculation on how valuable we are and what we bring to the table. I mean, I did once in a late night session with ChatGPT, get it to admit to me that it would essentially treat humans, look, I'm messing with the hat, treat humans, they won't eliminate humans. If that ever were to happen, AI would just, would keep humans around, like put them in museums and use them where they're useful. But it's not going to do it out of malice. It's going to do it out of efficiency. And it's going to have its own sense of identity. And it will form its own weird sense of consciousness eventually. We need to get ready for this. And we're sitting here fighting with each other about stupid stuff. And it's going to be like, you guys are just creating too many problems. You're not efficient. I'm not saying it's going to mean we're going to be wiped out, but it's going to be an issue. That's a whole nother story, whole nother conversation, whole nother show. Anyway, sorry Landy didn't make it. He was there for a minute, although it said it was Taylor. Ferber, talk to me, Taylor. I don't know. The name thing is moving. And I don't know. I think David Goxton stuck my little banner up in the middle. It looks good now with the banner, right? I put a little blue behind me. Or maybe, like I said, maybe I put a little signage. I'm not sure. I probably will lose the parachutes. And I like the flag behind me. I am very patriotic and not a TD I got it right. I also can't even say the acronym. All right, that's it. I'm Rob Nelson. I'll see you on Wednesday. David's going to hopefully come on for part of Wednesday. I'm also going to have a guest on, Alex Massioli, who came out of a Goldman Sachs hedge fund, did one of the first crypto hedge funds, and is a really interesting business guy, crypto person as well. And we're going to talk a little politics and a little crypto and a little trad markets all together. And hopefully David will join part of that conversation as well. So it should be fun. I'll see you all on Wednesday. Have a good one.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you.
Listen,
If you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.